Hello and welcome to the Dharmalife Academy. I'm your host, Aloise.life, and today I'm talking to you about how your past lives can block you in this life and how you can clear your restrictions now. So my name is Aloise.life, and every week we are talking about how you can build a 5D life in alignment with your soul. If you haven't noticed, the planet is going through an ascension process, and all of us are transitioning from 3D to 5D. And in this episode, you are going to learn how your past lives are probably blocking what you're trying to achieve in this lifetime. You're also going to learn what karma is and how it influences it and how it impacts you. And finally, I'm going to give you a very simple clearing statement that you can utilize to clear your Akashic record of blocks and restrictions. So welcome to the Dharmalife podcast. So happy to be with you here today. And I'm really happy to be a 5D Ascension guide. I know I kind of got all my crap out of the way quite early on, so I could help you guys step into your 5D soul purpose and build a life that's in alignment with your soul. And I'm very blessed and lucky today to be, I suppose, what I consider living my Dharma and living my purpose. Some of you will know I have the Dharmalife Academy. It's a year-long program. Essentially, the program takes you from 3D into 5D and living your 5D soul purpose. And essentially, it shows you how to get on your spiritual path and progress through your spiritual path. I'm also the host of the Dharmalife podcast, and I'm also an Akashic Records reader, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years. And today I wanted to share with you how your past lives are probably blocking you today and how you can clear your restrictions. So have you ever felt like you are bashing your head against a brick wall and getting nowhere? Now, sometimes people experience this as they really want to leave their jobs, but they might be too scared. They might have too much fear. Or you might find that you can't make a living out of your purpose business. You've been doing it. And that was my story. So I had a very successful career in the city in recruitment, and I was earning six figures at a very young age and very lucky to be making really good money. And of course, as we evolve, that position and that job didn't fulfill me like it did previously. Like, I used to love it. I used to love helping people find jobs and making a difference that way. But as my consciousness evolved, so did my purpose. And I trained as a coach, and then I got into more spiritual teaching. And that was the thing that always attracted me, was doing spiritual teaching. I was always attracted to spiritual principles. And I was actually running my recruitment business and my coaching business at the same time. And I had this idea around Dharma. But I'll be totally honest with you, for the first few years in that new business, in the coaching and Dharma business, helping people do their Dharma, I found it so difficult. I couldn't make any money for love nor money. And I had no confidence around charging. And it really felt like I was walking in mud around the whole thing. And I found it very difficult. And then a very good friend of mine introduced me to the Akashic Records. And from there, I started to do sessions within the records. And I started to understand that I had something like 10 lifetimes as a spiritual teacher in previous lifetimes. So no wonder I was attracted to spiritual teaching and teaching others about how they could integrate spiritual teachings into their lives. What I also found and discovered was that I had a lot of contracts around keeping my prices low. So I want you to think about, while we're doing this video, I want you to think about areas of your life you feel blocked. And maybe you've been on the transformational journey for a while and you've tried lots of different things, but you're still not moving forward. Now, the chances are that you will have some type of past life blocking you in this life. And now, having trained in the Akashic Records, I see this all the time. You know, somebody may have had, maybe having problems with money in this life and with a business, and they can't necessarily, every time they come close to making big sums of money, it just dissipates. And then we go and we do a session and we have a look and we see that they've had this same pattern in a past life, and something's happened in that past life and they're still repeating the patterns. So how does karma work? Because this gives us a really good indication. So the way I describe karma is anything that takes you away from who you are at soul level. So all of us have a dominant energy type. And what we're supposed to do in life is we're supposed to be true to ourselves and true to our energy type. And when we do things that take us away from who we are at soul level, we create karma. So often I see in people's records that they may have done something where they gain money and status, but they've accumulated the karma of guilt, or they've accumulated the karma of fear. And that pattern is still running in their life now and blocking them. So think about your life. It might be relationships, it might be business, it might be money, it might be health. Is there any area where you maybe think, I really didn't understand why or how that happened, but it just happened? I've seen people who have had health problems like I'm experiencing at the moment. I have a shoulder that slightly hurts, and I also have my knees which slightly hurt, and I've never hurt my shoulder. It's really bizarre. And then when I checked the records, I found that I had been stabbed in this shoulder in a past life. So I'm currently working through the karma that I've accumulated. So if you imagine how this works, very interesting. Say, for example, you've had something happen to you. The other thing that I'm working through in the records is I actually starved to death in a past life. Can you imagine? My body starved to death. It doesn't want that to happen again. So the imprint of starving to death is in my soul. Now that imprint stays in my emotional and my mental body, because of course my soul wants to learn. It doesn't want to starve to death again. Oh my God, that would be horrendous. So the imprint of not starving to death is in my system this time round, which means I found it very difficult to lose weight. It means that my body always wanted to stay the same sort of size. It was because my body was very scared of losing weight, as you can imagine. So it's very interesting, fascinating stuff. And of course, what you can do is you can go in and you can clear the blocks and restrictions around that issue, which is like, the way I describe karma is like an energetic energy running that is maybe holding you back or stopping something from happening. When you clear that and then you take aligned action, it's very successful. So I've managed to now clear my business where I wasn't making money, where I wasn't being seen, where I wasn't able to charge my worth. I've gone through and I've cleared all of those blocks and restrictions. And now I have a successful business. We have over 115 people in our academy. I do, high level one-to-one coaching. And I have probably a full book of Akashic Records readings on a monthly basis. People book about 2 months in advance to see me. It's very effective stuff. It's very interesting stuff. It kind of blows your mind when you're doing sessions and you can see a pattern in this life, and then you ask the person what's happened in this life, and they said, oh my God, that's exactly what I've experienced. So I wanted to share all of this with you because I know in my own case, I was so frustrated around my business, first of all, my weight, second of all, and also I'm working around having a baby. And I discovered that I'd had past lives, one where I'd actually lost a child in childbirth. Now, if you've lost a child in childbirth in a past life, the chances are you won't want to go through that or even risk having a child in this life. So it's very interesting for me. I feel like I am using this modality to really serve people within really high level, big stuff. If you can go from taking your business to not working to working, fantastic. So I know I've done that here. And as I said, I'm a kind of work in progress around the baby stuff. So I really wanted to share that with you because I wanted to give you some perspective that you might not have had before around your own blocks and things that might be frustrating you. Now, what an Akashic Records reader does is anyone can access their records. We have been attuned. If you've been trained to work in the records, you're attuned. It's a bit like Reiki. So those of you who have done Reiki, you know, you get an attunement, which enables the energy to flow through you. It's the same within the Akashic Records, but anybody can just through intention of accessing the records. Now, I want to give you a clearing statement, which I think would be very effective for anybody out there who's listening. And if you'll know you're blocked in a certain area, then you can use this clearing statement. Why you would maybe go to a practitioner is what we do is when you train. So I've gone through 3 different programs to learn this, and obviously been doing it for the last couple of years. You develop what we call a very strong frame of reference. So the Akashic Records will reflect back to you your intent and your frame of reference. So if you know what you're doing, if I know, which I do now, I know exactly what I'm doing when I'm going in, what I'm looking for, what I'm looking to clear. My frame of reference is very strong, which means I get good results. What can be more difficult for an individual who's not worked in the records is it's more difficult because you don't know what you're doing, basically, because you've not been trained. But I wanted to give you this affirmation to clear karma because I know some of you, it might be a little bit expensive for some of you. So I wanted to give this to you because then I know you can go and you can work with it and see what it can clear for you. And absolutely, if you need support or if you want to work with me, I work with clients one-to-one. We go very, very deep, obviously more expensive. One-off single sessions, I can clear a reasonable amount. We go through a process to show you who you are at soul level. And then we go in and we clear the 2 major blocks that you're experiencing. And then we can go into your health issues, weight, whatever that may be. But the affirmation to clear karma is I hereby terminate and remove any and all karma I have created in relation to whatever it is, money, weight. I entrust this intention be carried out for the highest good of all beings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that affirmation is a really, really powerful one that you can use to clear stuff in the records. What I would love to do is like to gift a session to somebody. We're going to do a competition this episode. To enter, you have to be on my list. And you are going to set up a little link. So you basically will enter and then we'll draw the winner at random. We're going to give away Akashic Records reading worth £500. So please do enter that competition. We'll put all the details on below. And I just wanted to say that, you know, wonderful thing about this whole 3D to 5D journey is everybody's accessing their gifts. Everybody's finding shortcuts. And because things like clearing karma used to take lifetimes. And now we can access Akashic Records and we can clear it. You know, I know some of the older school teachers can't believe that is possible because they've had to do it the long way. And the wonderful thing about us ascending, us going into higher states of consciousness and awareness, is we are finding shortcuts and ways to do things quicker. And of course, what's wonderful is that we didn't used to be able to access the Akashic Records probably only in the last, 20, 30 years. And as more and more people work within it, it becomes more and more accessible for everybody. So I want you to really look at your life and look at where you might feel blocked, vows of suffering, vows of sacrifice, vows of chastity, vows of silence. I see that all the time where you can't necessarily speak up for yourself, or you always think of all the things that you want to say after you've had an argument or after there's the discussion. Chances are you have had a vow of silence. Now, I got into this stuff because somebody I was working with for quite a long period of time, we clashed all the time. And it was so draining. I couldn't work out why we just didn't seem to have a kind of normal conversation. And of course, I discovered that we'd worked together in 80 lifetimes. And it had been either me working for her or her working for me. And consequently, we'd built up all this karma, this kind of karma of frustration. The energy was running between us, which meant every interaction did not work. Now, I'm also clearing in my own relationship with my husband and I had an energy of miscommunication running. If you've got an energy of miscommunication happening, what's happening? You're miscommunicating. So it's very powerful stuff, very powerful work, really fascinating to think that this could even, even have such an impact. Hence why I wanted to do and give away a competition. As I said, you need to be on my list to enter it, and we'll put the link below. But what we do in that session is we tell you who you are at soul level. Now, the reason that this is so important, because all of us have been taught that we need to work hard to make a living, right? That is a collective illusion that all of us are bought into. That isn't true. I'm here to tell you, if you are in alignment with who you are, it's very simple to make money. The problem is most of us have got loads of blocks stopping it coming in, and we're not in alignment with who we are at soul level. So I'll give you an example. I myself am a communication soul, and I'm all about communicating wisdom to people. Now, if I'm not using my voice, or if I'm not doing this is why I do this, because it's the best way of me using my skills and talents. And that is how I'm in alignment, and that is how I'm recognized. And this way enables me to make money in flow with who I am. Now, this is what I really want for everybody listening, is to have this awareness that you all have a soul purpose, and actually to get in alignment and find and discover and do your Dharma and live your Dharma shouldn't be difficult. It should be simple. Unfortunately, we haven't had the name of the game, the rules of the game. So one of the things we do in the Akashic Records reading is we give you an insight into who you are at soul level, and then how you can stay in alignment and in the positive aspect of your energy type. And also, life gets simpler. The reason I was really successful in my corporate job is because I was using my communication all the time. I literally was talking for a living. That's why it worked. And in the corporate industry, I didn't have loads of contracts around being a spiritual teacher and not charging my worth. So actually, it was much easier for me to make money in that area because I didn't have any of the past life baggage, but I was in alignment with my soul energy type. So understanding who you are at soul level is very, very powerful. And then understanding your soul group of origin is also very, very powerful. And that is the other thing we do in that reading. So what I'm giving away, if you go and have a look on my website, it's Aloise.life, I'm giving away part 1 and part 2. So part 1 is who you are at soul level, which I've just described to you. And part 2 is the major karmic patterns that are running in your life. So what we do is we go through and we look at the 2 main lives that are impacting you in this life. The amount of times I have seen where, for example, a woman in a past life, made a bargain. She married somebody she didn't love, but she married them for money. And then unfortunately that relationship ended up being abusive. And they didn't they didn't leave in a past life. They stayed, which of course is, going against their divine nature if somebody's abusing you. The amount of times I speak to women and that has been their story in this life is just uncanny, absolutely uncanny. And I suppose my wish is that we don't have to go through the pain that we have been going through as a collective. We have been caught, as we go through this ascension process, we have been caught in our lower chakras. We've been caught in the karmic loop. If you think about what's happening right now is we are breaking a lot of the karmic ties that we have had. A lot of us have come to be the trauma breakers in our families. We've gone through the abuse, the depression, the alcoholism, because we stuck our hands up to be the generation that are breaking these karmic patterns for future generations. And again, if you can afford to do this work, please do come and see me, because it really can help you move forward. What I would say is you have to combine it with action. You do have to take the action, because it's not magic. You can't wave a magic wand and say, here you go, here's your dream life. You can remove the blocks and then you take the action, and it will flow and it will happen. You still have to take the action. But my wish is, we need more light workers. We need more people on the planet in alignment with who they are at soul level, because that is how we are going to shift this planet quicker. You imagine the more people that are in a high vibrational state in alignment with who they are, the more good we can do. And this is the transition that we are in on the planet right now. This 4-year period is the breaking down of the old systems. And we're speed that up by getting more of you out there doing your Dharma, living in alignment with who you are at soul purpose. Obviously, this is what we do in the Dharmalife Academy. This is what this podcast is all about. And I'm going to be launching the Do Your Dharma program. If you are interested in taking the Do Your Dharma program, I'm not taking people in my academy, but say you wanted to self-study it and learn it yourself, I am going to be launching that soon for people. So we'll put the link in for you for that below as well. So thank you so much for listening. As I said, all you have to do is sign up to enter the competition this week, join my list, say why you want to win, and we will enter you into the competition, which I will announce the next week on my social media channels, on Instagram, on Facebook. This episode will go live on the 12th and we'll announce it on the 19th. Key thing I want you to know is we can clear our blocks and restrictions from a past life now. And you guys can get and achieve the things that you want to. Nothing is undoable. Where there's a will, there is a way. And as I said, I have found this to be so effective in my business. The test for me will be around the baby stuff, because obviously I've cleared every single thing I can think of. And it was a fascinating process, which I'll share. I'm going to wait. I'm confident. I know I'm speaking to the soul of my child, but obviously we have to wait for him to come. But that will also be really massive proof for me around, I've seen it work in my business. I want to see it work in my fertility as well. And obviously, you guys know I'm really keen to help humanity in this transition that we are going through from 3D to 5D. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to enter the competition. Do not forget to sign up to my list. And I'd also love to know from you guys listening, how can I serve? How can I help you guys? So please do let me know what you would like me to do podcast episodes on. Anything in relation to 3D to 5D, living in alignment with our soul. Where are you stuck? What can I help you with? I'd love to know, because then I can create the best possible content I can for all of you. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. My name is Aloise.life Middleton, and I look forward to supporting you in building a 5D life in alignment with your soul. Thank you so much for listening to the Dharmalife podcast. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Please come over and say hello on my Instagram, our Facebook group, and also please let me know what you thought. So if you are listening, please take a screenshot of the podcast that you are listening to. Tag me on Instagram and I will reshare your post, and please let me know what it is that you got out of today's episode. Remember, when we do our Dharma, we are happier, healthier, we live longer, and we have a deep sense of unshakable inner peace.